Hey, everybody. What to do when your main competition is a beautiful bridge right there, the Johns Pass Bridge? And let me explain myself. Of course, good morning. Happy Sunday morning. Welcome to a Cup of Ray. Of course, I'm out here at Krabby's on the Pass. And where else would you want to be on this beautiful Sunday, April 23rd, day after Earth Day, 3 days after 420? But those who recognize, and of course, the Rays, outstanding, stay undefeated at home. So, my shot, I feel like please share the show. Appreciate you. I'm going to run my show thing here, run in a minute, but I got no lighting. I come out here. There is weird to say, out of the west or out of the east, gale force winds near almost got to be like 25 sustained knots, and it's beautiful because again it's April 23rd and that sun is slowly rising, and everybody, Johns Pass and Treasure Island and Krabby's here. Staff's getting ready to serve the best breakfast, the phenomenal lunch, and then bury the lead, the best dinners all day. World's longest waterfront bar down here with this view. Had to put this little tank. Let me explain the lighting thing. Thank you for the like, and I'll get to the comments in a second. The bridge went up this morning just about 15 minutes ago with Hubbard's Marina going out for the day into deep sea fishing, and I'm waving. I'm over here, Krabby's. I'm waving everybody. I think one person was like sitting there and they're kind of like I felt. I'm like Mr. Working Tattoo, like welcoming the boat back, like, oh, welcome to Fantasy Island. I'm not gonna. Okay, I did that, but. So the light, I want to put the bridge, but because I've got the perfect spot here on the second of 3 decks out here at Krabby's on the Pass, the sun's a little further to that way. It's going to come up. I got flushed out. The bridge is so beautiful and the sky is so beautiful that so that's why okay. So let's talk about the Rays. Let's talk about the Bucks. Let's talk about the Lightning. More importantly, let's talk about you. How's your Sunday going? How's your weekend? What did you do for Earth Day? Did you recognize anything? If you've got children or grandchildren, how did you look at that? If you're like us, you recognize it Earth Day year round. But yesterday was a little crazy, but still had some great times down there in St. Pete. Went down there and did a pregame shows on the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection with Mike Rickard and Ben Botham. Had a great time. And I know it seemed weird this morning. I know I post that, audio, and it's just a picture of Mike, who's the most fantastic guy. But we had like 25 minutes, of course, packed show, had the Dunedin Falcons baseball team on there. And of course, Ben Botham talking about, and we got into it about the Osceola and the Seminole thing going on there. I won't go into any more details, but had a great time. So if you haven't had a chance to catch that audio, or more importantly, I would say go to Sports Talk Florida, check out the entire show. And then, of course, us continuing finishing up, or bringing up the backside there, but also off the tee at 11 o'clock with Big O and their Mike Rickards. So it's a Cup of Ray. Please share the show. I don't see any comments yet. I'm waiting on you. Let's have a conversation. It's a Cup of Ray from down here at Krabby's on the Pass. I'm rummaging through my pockets. I've got so much junk. I get down here, Mark, the fantastic manager out here at Krabby's in the Pass, and he's like, "You're early." And I was like, "Mark." So this day gets so crazy sideways. I'm like, "This is Sunday morning, sunrise. Oh, the bridge is going up. I don't know if you all will be able to see it. I have a comment in here. Let's hit that real quick. How do I sound? At least do I sound? Christopher Cole, my boy, Christopher. Good morning, brother. Do I sound okay? I didn't even check to make sure. I didn't do any pre-checks, just had nobody. Honestly, I'll be honest. I talked with James Kennedy yesterday, but of course he's an hour behind me right now over there in Texas. And I'm like, hey, James, it's so You know what? I didn't share it. I'm gonna have to share it because we were talking. Of course, James and I were talking about Gerald McCoy. We've talked about Gerald McCoy. We talked about the draft. We've talked about a lot of things going on with the Bucks. Hadn't really had a chance to talk with James yet about Devin White. Of course, former Buccaneer, former Indianapolis Colton, locking it down as host of the co-host of the Big Game Sports Buzz, but just him and Jay Stoggs. And I was like, okay, so I'm going at 7:30 again. The manager here, Mark, said you're early, and I'm like, James, and he's like 6:30, and James just, it wasn't the cry emoji, like bad cry emoji or sad, but it was just a, oh, okay, Ray. So I'm gonna put the link out there in a minute so that I can make sure if James wants to jump in here and your comments, please. Fred in here. Fred Swayze Moore says, good morning. Sound is good. Thank you, Fred. Isn't it just a Ray's life that Randy Arozarena is the player that gets the hit, gets the after sustaining the 21 game, now a Major League Baseball record all time. 21 games to start the 2023 season. The Rays have had a home run in at least every game and bury the lead. They've had quite a few where they've had a lot more than one home run, but Randy comes up to bat there in the 10th inning, and after walking off the night before for the first time at home in 2023, as the Rays remain undefeated at home at 13-0, overall record of 19-3. But then the second night in a row, the walk-off, this time it's the 10th inning. This time it's Randy Arozarena. And I'll tell y'all what, this is exactly what I said. And, if I had a great producer, wink, I have no producer. I guess I am the pseudo producer, but you could go back at all the shows. And I said going into before game one, opening day there, I think it was not hard for all of us to see that with what Randy Arozarena did in the World Baseball Classic and had the success that he had. There's the bridge going up. It's weird because I'm looking at the camera, but I'm seeing the reflection off the doors. I crabs on it fast. And all of a sudden I started getting a little tiny bit of vertigo because I thought the ground was gone. I thought I was doing that. Oh God, what's the name of that? I should not go off like this. The name of that movie where they're going layers and layers and layers deep. But Randy Arozarena coming out at what I take away Shohei Ohtani, take away Mike Trout, and the way that ended. Ohtani striking out Mike Trout to end the World Baseball Classic. Randy Arozarena was the MVP. Now he was voted the MVP in left field there, and among the all World Baseball Classic players, but you saw his defense, you saw his offense, and then you saw this, and that's what and put me in Randy land. That's the name of it, right? Because Ben Botham and I were talking. I'm going to sit like this. It's a little chilly. Oh, okay, Chris. I'm going to get to that because I see your comment. Let's go there right now because I could jump around baseball all the time long. The refs cost us that hockey game. Okay. I wanted to hear the audio of the whistle, because I thought that the puck had gotten taken in, and it happened a couple of beats before the official even came in from the side and raised his hands. Don't know who and when the whistle was blown. That felt to me like that could have been a goal. I wanted to see the perfect audio and video match like the Zapruder film. That late hit, oh God, what was I going to say? Adam Driver. I forgot my guy's name. The late hit into the wall. They went and they looked at that, and the truth is, by the nature of you want these players to be. Oh, I shouldn't have had that taco burrito for breakfast. I hope you guys can hear that on the show. By the nature of how you want these players to play, the protection of the quarterback, the concussions, in any sports, you want to see all safe. You want to let them play, but you also want to see precautions taken. I saw him go down. I think it was initially the hit. Did take him down, but he didn't ride. He went into the wall. It seemed it was more like, it happened. Both of us. He probably did boss a little bit because he's playing defense, but I didn't feel it was egregious enough to get the 5-minute major misconduct. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have liked to see that. I'm not saying I would, because the Lightning. I mean, you talk about a team that's veteran and they're old. They're not older, but the Maple Leafs coming up. Hats off to the Winnipeg Jets. They lost last night. Like that story. Like to see a team like that doing well. Hate the Vegas Knights. Sorry, Ben Cornett. But truth of the matter is, Lightning were holding up so well in that game, and Vasilevsky was Vazzy at all times, but fortunately, the way this team was playing in front of him, he didn't have to stand on his head too much. He always does. Gets to 100 games, 5th overall now in NHL history, and playoff games played behind some very big names. But I mean, yeah, you can say that. But then, truth of the matter is, Chris, the Lightning should have kept the biscuit out of the basket there in the last minute. That's what killed. I'm like, oh, they were that close. So go back to the Randy Rosarina thing. Um, the fact, and again, the fact that he's the player and what he brought into this thing. Now we already came in coming into 2023. I think the Rays had a chip on their shoulder. I think Kevin Cash, I think Eric Neander made some great decisions. Eflin's back on the mound today. That is, and you're talking about the moves, signing Eflin as a free agent. Is it bringing the Orlando Dad in here? The Orlando Dad, that's his nickname. I'm always giving people nicknames. The things that they did to come in there, but they had a chip on their shoulder. Oh, we can't shift anymore because we were the first ones. Oh, you're talking about trying to limit the number. They got a rule now they're trying out in down at A or whatever that says that if you have so many pitchers before the fifth inning or something, to the nature of you basically your pitcher becomes you don't no longer have the designated hitter. So in the Rays case, like a game like then we had that game Friday night there, and it got or I'm sorry, and it wasn't in Cincinnati, but truth of the matter, truth of the matter, where you have a game where the Rays are using an opener and they're bringing in a pitcher every inning or so, every inning and a half, and there's a rule they're looking to do that. And as far as, and I'll be honest with you, I thought coming into 2023, the talk was that the National League was thinking about adopting the designated hitter, and then we say no, because I'll give you guys and girls this. Oh, Tim Haynes. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Ray. Good morning, Tim. As much as we talked about a pitch clock, which has been success. I hope you're seeing the boats. You do see the boats. I see a boat. That's the boat. As much as a pitch clock has been a success, as much as the bigger bases, if that's what's stimulating the run, the steals and offense, the Rays were coming into the season like, okay, you got these new rules. All of baseball is going to adopt, not so much against the Rays, but these new rules, and we're known for our pitching. But guess what? A Rosarina, Diaz, El Patron, Franco, Lowe. Oh God, we just keep going on. Bethencourt, just go and then bury the lead the pitching staff. It's a shame that Shane McClanahan. It wasn't that relief pitcher came in and did give up the home run for the White Sox to tie, or Shanny would have became, or Shanny Sugar Shane would have gotten to 5-0. Second race pitcher is Matt Moore, of course, the only pitcher who actually got a 5-0. McClanahan remains 4-0 because he doesn't get the loss because, like I said, at buried a lead there, Randy Rosarina. We get the walk off in the 10th inning. So that's the beauty of it. I see a lot of you guys comment. What are you doing this Sunday morning? Are you sitting at a table? Are you out at breakfast? Are you enjoying this beautiful morning? Days like these remind me of growing up on the Intercoastal and just being blown away, or actually anywhere inland, even being over in Orlando at Disney with my oldest Kate and my wife, 15, 18 years ago. And you'd have, okay, it's coming end of April. Here it is. Boom, it's getting there. And all of a sudden you'd have these mornings where just the easterly would sustain, or a shift in the jet stream a little bit, or what have you. And all of a sudden you've got one of these mornings where and of course this afternoon it's gonna be hotter than hell. Wear your sunblock. I was noticing yesterday on my legs, I'm just driving around and I'm like, dude, and I was doing a lot of driving in the morning yesterday. Shout out to, I want to get this right. This is what I was digging in my pockets for. So my wife's got her van, drives it. She depends on it, takes very good care of it, always has. So she's like, this is personal, but I'm going to do this because I wanted to give my guy a shout, Lorenzo. So, so you're taking care of your car, and the wife, we needed the oil change, get the synthetic. And then of course I noticed the other day that the back left tire was a little low visually. I made a visual inspection. See how I do? Please share the show and comment. Good morning, Tim. So yesterday morning, I'm going to go out. I'm not going to give other bad names, but I go to one oil place. It's like, 6:53 in the morning. I pull in. I'm like, hey, I want to just get the synthetic, not the top, not the bottom, just something good, a good oil change. And I'm still wanting to get obviously all the tires pressures checked and all the fluids topped off is an important part of that. What you're getting, that handshake, that you're paying a little for, but you're getting total maintenance for this vehicle that you rely so much upon. The guy's like, this is maybe y'all, I'm not even going to say the name, but you're going to, I've been there. Then, so he's like, oh, we don't get a truck until afternoon. I got the high grade synthetic and it's going to be about $200 for an oil change. And I'm like, instantly, like in Ratatouille, when the critic is taken back to a child because the Ratatouille and he remembers. I'm like, I remember when it was just me getting underneath, unscrewing the filter, putting in 5 quarts, calling it a day. But we rely on these vehicles these days, and there's all other fluids and there's checks to be, and now it's even a pain. Let's be honest, it's a pain in the ass to stop, put air in your tires. If you can find a place what are we doing with these tires? Are people Are there just is there a class of people that go to these, gas stations and they, like, do crazy are they doing, like, hopscotch with these things? Are they doing double dutch with the air hoses? Because it's like, what's the percentages, seriously, out of 100%? I'm thinking, like, 73.8% of the time you stop, they're like, It's out of order." And then if it's not out of order, they're like, "It's $2 or a dollar." You're like, "Wait a minute, it's air." No, you're compressing it. I appreciate that. Gotta put it in the tire, but I'm also getting gas. I'm also buying, food, but, whatever. That's that economy today. But, so I needed to get the oil change. I go to the first place, 202. Then I go and then now mind you, it's just a little above 7. And I have a lot to do, busy Sunday, which is why, again, apologize for this weird shot. I would always you would default and go full bridge, but because of the light, as the sun comes up, I had to take a little bit of the sky and that beautiful white bridge behind me, but I still wanted to show you the boats leaving the pass here. Going out, I'm telling you what, that's the thing. We've got white caps in the past. Now it's not like right down here, and yes, the tropical storm has now moved into the Gulf. Hopefully not, right? El Nino, bye bye. But there's like white caps and a good flow through the pass here, so I could guarantee you that. Oh, I just remembered. Of course, Hubbard's Marine and Captain, they're the best at placing that boat somewhere, but those boats are going to be rolling a little out there fishing today. So, if you're going on a boat today, just make sure you precaution and bring sunblock. Oh, oh, Michelle Martinez Davis is Peter H. Blake. That's awesome. Hope you had a good time. Of course, I'm on Peter's page, Facebook page. Have you noticed do you see how many followers that cat's got? I could do my page, but it's like I've got like 16 people and a service dog that follow me. I get no runs, so I'll do it on Pete's page and throw it on my YouTube page. Hope you check it out on my YouTube page. The video comes in. I think that bridge is fleshing me out, but the video is even better. Need to get that oil change, go to the next place that's even closer to the house, and they're not open till 8 o'clock. It's Saturday morning. I'm like, a lot of us work all week. We like to get these things done. I know I sound like old man now. I'm old Florida man. Then all of a sudden, literally out of a thought in my head, just where the old Texaco was on a corner of Starkey Road and Park Boulevard, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a Take 5 right there. And I always notice them because when I drive by every day on the way to work and every night actually I take Brian during the way home, but I always see the big sign out front, military discount. I'm like, that's awesome. Doesn't apply to me, but should be a military discount. Should be a lot more for our military. Let's not lose our eyes, keeping our eyes on that price. But I remember I'm like, that's got to be a place. That's clean kept. It's right there in the corner again, the southeast corner. I pull down in. I see the lights. I still see cones out front, but I'm like, no cars yet. I'm gonna pull up there. I pull right up there, and I'm just like approaching. I got two guys sitting in the bays. College kids, college kids with great uniforms on. It was it just felt good to go to a service station. That's what it felt like, service station there at Take 5. And Lorenzo, I started calling him, the manager, comes right up, moves the cone. He says, I told him about what I needed to get done. He said, well, pull on, he told me, and the price was a lot better than that first quote. In fact, the price at Take 5 was about what it should be. But yeah, if you get a discount or something, I'm ready to go with that too. Pulls me as I'm pulling in, I pull in and park, and he comes over, he hands me a bottle of water. The little things. Cold water. I needed water. It was morning, but I had finished my coffee, drank the cold water. Thank you, so. Take 5. The other gentleman, I want to say his name was John, may have been Mark. He's already underneath starting this thing. So we start talking. I tell him I do this thing. I cover sports, talking about the Bucks, Lightning, the Rays, Tampa Bay. I like to consider myself being able to just have a Sunday vibe, but talk about social stuff through sports. Whatever. That's my cell. Live with it. Oh, Michelle's got another comment. I should have kept it on screen. Michelle says, Peter, I'm so very proud of you. You've come a long way. You deserve so much for recognizing me. We may have to do lunch. Michelle, you know what? If you're buying lunch, I'll be Peter. I'll be Paul. I'll be a disciple. I'm kidding. John Graham. Jake Garrison says, what's shaking, Ray? Jay, what's shaking? I see the Bucks. I see it. And I know you, Jay. So let me finish the Take 5 real quick. They get done. They do a full service check. They get the tires. The back left tire was low. It's beautiful. The car's running so beautifully. They took care of me, had me in and out, and I was able to get. And after, especially getting that first quote, the extra service at Take 5, and you got to go see Lorenzo there at Starkey and Park Boulevard on Seminole on the way, going to Tampa through the heart of Pinellas there to Pinellas Park also. But tell him you saw it on Cup of Ray. Just tell him Ray sent you. Maybe next time I go in there, he'll give me those cups. Michelle, you're the man with the money. Laugh out loud. Yes, I am, Michelle. And you're the girl with the plan. I'm just kidding. It's awesome. I've got 6 comments and 4 of you, Michelle. I appreciate you. Buccaneers 19 on Thursday night. And we talked about how the Bucs did not leave the cycle as they get Canales, as they get, Baker Mayfield. You got Kyle Trask and Baker in a quarterback competition. And all of a sudden, what? Devin White, huh? Social media, what? Eagles, really? Devin, here's the thing. We got a thing with the Eagles going way back. I could see it as a baller. I could see, and maybe even you got some, maybe even Indomitian told you how great, maybe he told you about one of the best places to grab the best Philly steak and cheese sandwich, bar none, and they feed every Eagle free. Pick a team that's going to have cap. They just gave Jalen Hurts big bang, gave him that big bag. And you want to be 100 million, but you're agreeing. And it's social. So it's like, okay. And here's what I talking with TJ Reeves, the Buck sideline guy, and Peter Blake and Harry Berg the other night. And I said, he's doing what he's got to do. I had a conversation with Harry yesterday about Roquan Smith, because Roquan was the guy last year, Chicago, who now just got the $100 million contract with the Baltimore Ravens, which when I'm thinking at the time when I'm talking to him, I'm like, oh, the Baltimore Ravens, $100 million linebacker, but they don't know about how they want to feed Lamar Jackson and keep a MVP quarterback. And then takes me back to Trent Dilfer, the coach at UAB, but he was also the most disrespected Super Bowl victorious quarterback of all time when the Ravens don't sign him the next year, but they go with Elvis Grbac. And he still plays in the league for like another 63 years. I always told you Trent Dilfer could not throw a screen pass. I love the golden mullet. Remember the day we drafted him out of Fresno State. But, wait, how did I get off on this? Going back to Devin, going back to social, going back to disrespect. Okay. Yeah, Roquan. Okay, with Harry. I tell you, I always get there. And I'm going to keep getting there until you all either keep commenting or share the show. Oh, there are more comments. Jay says, I think people are going to be huge mad when Bucks pick Will Levis at 19. Okay, Jay, I'm glad you said that. I like the Will Levis. I like this kid. I'm pro-style quarterback. He doesn't remind me of Joe Burrow pro-style. He doesn't seem like, he's not like, I haven't seen enough of the body of work of him. Just didn't follow Kentucky, no. Canales just got his first job as an OC. Todd Bowles has got a defensive-minded team that we had a great defense. And I'm going to go back to when I said to Ben Botham yesterday why the Buccaneers win the NFC South in 2023 for the third year in a row, for the first time in franchise history. Remember, 2 was already just in a row. But the reason, because of this Todd Bowles top 5 across, all you have to do is have an offense that doesn't turn over the ball. And you're going to have a top 5 defense. That top 5 defense is going to still be better than what's his face is doing there in Atlanta, hiring all of New Orleans staff. Dennis Allen still has a scary good defense, and he's got now what's his face, the Derek Carr now at quarterback. I still say we're going to own that. It's going to be a typical divisional match, and I think that Frank Reich and Bryce Young. I'm telling you, I read an article in SI this week. All of a sudden, I love this kid. And I'm like that because you guys and girls know I'm a sucker for a narrative. 2019 best local columnist, creative loafing. Thank you all for that. That's going to be, I've already got my tombstone done, and it actually is already etched in there. It's like, oh, he's got great, 2019 creative loafing, best of the Bay, best local columnist, whatever. It's a thing. But the defense you're going to have here, Canales is getting his first offensive coordinator job. And here's the thing, Jay, I love going back to Lamar Jackson and the steal he is at 32 and getting a quarterback like him and getting these quarterbacks on these first or rookie contracts. What that does from a cap perspective, because everything's slotted, it gives you so much, gives a magician, and I do mean magician, like Jason Light, who is the best. I don't know. There's a few probably better evaluators of talent in the National Football League. Jason Light is right up there. I think he's also the best overall general manager. I like a guy that goes home from victory and does cannonballs in the pool with the kids. I like a guy that's going to grab a Bud Light at a boat parade or anywhere else. I like a guy you can sit and want to shoot the crud with. I like Jason Light. But you got Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. So you're only paying what? You got 4 + 4 for Baker on incentives. You got Kyle still on a second round first quarterback, 4th year. So you've already got that. You've already got the creativity to be able to re-sign a Tristan Wirfs and have some cap and continue to put depth elsewhere. I understand why we like to think of a quarterback on a rookie contract, especially a team that's going in the right direction or staying in the right direction like the Bucs. I just think at this time, you're already only getting $6 million for a starting quarterback. You don't want to be one of these teams, honestly, that gets too over the top. Like we were like drafting a Jordan Love when you still have Aaron Rodgers pissing him off no end. And where's that going now? But I mean, still, I said yesterday, if Jason Light's moving up, I think it's to go linebacker. I think Devin still has a great shot. TJ Reeves said the other night, Devin White, he's going to have to prove this year he can cover. His coverage can be as good as his rush. The line up front stays clean. You get Devin White. You let that backside pursuit and the speed, the best speed in the National Football League, sideline to sideline, you let that show. And maybe he gets that back here. Maybe he doesn't. But also Levante gets to wear the throwbacks this year. You got a linebacker crew that you and there's a player or two that you could that would be want to have on that rookie contract. And let's be honest, quarterbacks are getting what $600 billion contracts. Linebackers, edge rush, these players now, you're getting one of them on a 5-year first round pick. Kind of like a Devin, who now in year 5, coming up in year 5, is starting to kind of complain. And I mean, it gives the team that same. If you make that, and you get Jason Light, evaluator of talent. I'm gonna read my comments. This is awesome. Jay says Devin White is as good as Roquan Smith. I said what I said. I agree. I asked Harry because I wasn't Harry the Greek from 1252 Sports. I'm not. I know the Bears going back to the NFC North division or NFC Central. Whatever. I said, hey, Harry, Roquan, because Roquan I always thought's bigger. Maybe the cameras at Fox, they keep him lower up in the north, but I said Roquan's bigger. Harry goes, well, I don't know if he's bigger. I said, well, I don't know if he's taller, but he looks bigger. Although Devin looks big. I said, is he faster? He said, yeah, Roquan's faster. I said, how about his coverage skills? Because to me, that was the make and break of it. I said, his coverage skills. Roquan is better at coverage. And I went, okay, Roquan got that $100 million. Devin White is going to get that $100 million contract. You just know because of the size of the heart in this kid and the character he has. Again, go back to last year. He got so much. We're bored. The defense was bored because the offense couldn't give the defense a chance to be off the field. I think he said what he said because he didn't know. He's like that kid. He could be the team leader, but he's not that rah-rah guy. As far as, who is going to be this defensive? Oh, the bridge is going up. Oh, that one left marks. It's my thing. What am I going to do? I'll get back to that. Jay Garrison says, you said Elvis Grbac. LOL. It was Elvis Grbac with the Ravens. Wait, wasn't it Elvis? No, not Elvis Grbac. Wait, look that up because Trent Dilfer, they signed Grbac, who's gone a year later. They could have had Trent Dilfer, but they were like, oh, this 2000 Baltimore Ravens, we did this so much with Ray Lewis and that defense. We could have had a robot at quarterback, and they let Trent Dilfer walk. And you talk about it tore down the team. I mean, I remember this because, of course, I was conflicted because I remember Trent Dilfer couldn't throw a screen pass. I already knew it. I love that cat. Now, again, coach at UAB first year. I hope Trent Dilfer does better at UAB than Deion does at Colorado. And I'll tell you why. Not just because Deion's going to be great. Had 45,000 standing room only tickets being sold on a secondary market for Colorado's spring game yesterday. Snow flurries. It's crazy. So you love that. It's a great story. Yeah, I said all that because of Grbac. Yeah, Jay, I appreciate you. Wait, let me go back to this one. Jay Garrison says, Will Levis reminds me of Big Ben. I just haven't seen the body of work on Will Levis enough. If they say pro style quarterback and the kid got phenomenal numbers, had phenomenal numbers the year before, but I haven't seen enough of him. Because Big Ben will also run you over, and I'm sure. I guess Will probably do the same thing. I'm assuming. Jay Garrison also says, I think Carr's a great fit in New Orleans, but it's not enough to take them over the edge. Because I think there's so much I think there's a dysfunction there between, and of course, Drew Brees came out this week, and he said, I believe with Carmichael there, the offensive coordinator in New Orleans, and of course, again, Dennis Allen's going to have a defense. I think that Derek's a good. Go back to the overtime game when the Bucs were still wearing the the alarm clock numbers, and I'm sitting. Literally, my kids and I had moved up to the last row. So, and it was an overtime late afternoon Sunday game, and what ended up being not a cool but a dry after. I'll always remember. I remember 79. I remember being at the game with our defensive towels, all the numbers on it. Dave Pear and Dave Logan and Richard Batman Woods and Mark Cotney and. Leroy Selman and Dewey. But I remember with those little red, we had the numbers on it. Just circles of numbers. Who remembers that out there? I really do remember that. It's kind of great. Well, I guess we remember those moments in our life. But the overtime game, Derek Carr. And he moved Oakland. They were Oakland at the time. Moved them right down the field, and they beat us. It was a heartbreaker. We weren't doing much anyway. It was, But I was like, that guy's a gamer. But I still think there's an offense dysfunction. Michael Thomas, I'm not saying that cat hasn't burnt the Bucks or given the Bucks agita in the past. I just don't. I'd rather have a Mike Evans than a Michael Thomas. I think there's a disconnect there. And then Kamara, okay, he's coming in. Is he going to get not charged? But still, that's the character you have there. I think that when Sean Payton was coach, and I'm not putting Dennis Allen down at all. Oh, there's another deep sea fishing boat. Let me warn everybody to make sure that they drink a lot of water. See if anyone waves. I don't think they can see me. Yeah, well, the sun's shining in their eyes. I'm actually in a beautiful shade of skin. That's why I went with this shot. I just don't like the. I don't like. I think there's a little bit of disconnect. I think Sean Payton had a more control on that offense, and Dennis Allen was controlling that defense. I'm still afraid of that defense. I think the Buccaneers can get the edge there. Oh, I forget there's people eating breakfast down here. They're probably listening to me. They're like, "This would be the best breakfast ever." We hear the pelicans and the not the little metal knobs on the boat says they're moving in a marina and they're knocking against the mast and the breeze out of the. But that gets worse every time. But that guy won't shut up. Chief came in the house. What up, my man? Chief Robert. Oh, great. I'm so glad you made my morning. I put a little post and he's like, how do I get there? A busy guy, good guy. And I'm like, oh, please see you there. Share if you care. Good to see you there, Chief. Jay also says there are a lot of linebackers in this draft. 19 is for offense. I mean, so, and this is what I said, Jay. Jason Light. Okay, so we remember 49ers, one pick, Tristan Wirfs. I was thinking about this yesterday, okay? I want to say this for the record in case anybody came on board late in this game. And I don't mean to make that, bandwagon a reference. Not really. I'm just saying, even other people that aren't Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, but you started kind of liking them because of Tom Brady, and you're catching this because it came up on your feed, and you're like, who's that big-headed guy? Lake Howell. Shout out Lake Howell. Who's that guy talking? But it's a nice shot. Even when he drafts Roberto Aguayo in the second round, the reason why that's the kind of move that makes Jason Light my favorite general manager. Okay, because Rich McKay, yeah, right there, Hall of Fame, still president now with the Falcons. I can't go against Rich. Jason Light still hasn't drafted two Hall of Famers in the same draft, put together the team and coming out of the dismal. Of course, Jason Light took over a team 2014 that was coming out of a pretty dismal area, but it wasn't coming out of Culverhouse or still in Culverhouse dismality. But taking Roberto Aguayo in the second round, who was at the time the leading scorer in college football, had a Florida tie and a story here out of Orlando, was the number one kicker in history. Janikowski probably was. I'm just making that up about Florida State, but I got a lot of Seminoles out there on Peter Blake's Facebook page, so I got to shout out Seminoles. They're going to do good this year. Even that pick, because of the problem the Bucks had for a decade in trying to secure what I consider to be a very important. It's only important, right, when they have to go in with no time on a clock and do a walk off, right? Someone said it's not good you can't call football a walk off. I don't know if you're kicking a 52-yard field goal and your guy steps in there and he kicks it and puts it through the uprights and your team's heading to the locker room celebrating. That's more of a walk off than even in a Rosarina hit the bottom of the 10th last night, which I know. I mean, I don't mean to take away from that. You guys were talking about the Rays. We'll go back to wherever you want. I'm getting off on a tangent here. I think if Jason Light trades up in the draft because he sees almost like Stu Sternberg does, being the market man that he is. He sees where he can buy low or sell higher. He sees where he can gain a tactical advantage. I think the Buccaneers could trade up for another team that looks to get a Will Levis, or for another team that's and then they may offer to trade up with the Bucks, and then we pick up an extra second round or third round pick, or an extra second day pick, or something next year. I mean, if you move around, you still end up getting a guy that Jason Light and the Buccaneers have on the board to give this Buccaneers team what it needs, linebacker, not edge. I'm telling you what, Sack Avenue, again, I'll throw it out there. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, if he's not double digits, he's 9.5 sacks this year. I see it. And that's because you're going to have Shaq on the left side. Your team can only go one way. You're going to have Logan Hall up the middle Sack Avenue. You're going to have Vita Vea. You're going to have Gage up in there. And you're going to have Devin White playing for his next contract, which is a great thing, I say. TJ made that point the other night. He's going to play for his contract. He's not. I mean, I could be wrong. We could post something on social media right now this morning. It could blow up, and the Bucks like we got to get. I don't see that with Devin White. I don't see that with this kid. He's got to take care of him, got to make sure he gets that back. I don't see with him that causing team dysfunction and saying, I got to get out of here. And let me tell you something, Devin. As much as you want to rush to get to that second payday, if you were to blow up the Buccaneer locker room right now and lose a chance to play on this Buccaneers defense in 2023 and the success that they're going to have, and the success we're going to have on the other side of the ball on offense, because we still got all kind. We ain't reload or rebuild. No, we're not even reloading. All we did was give our guys a break. Grab a water. We'll see you back in the game in a minute. You play on this Buccaneers defense in 2023, you can do enough that you can grab that bag from 28 other teams, maybe 31 other teams. If Roquan, who I'm not saying you're exact comparison to Roquan, but because he's locked down with the Ravens, unless they're just not going to have a quarterback. I just realized this is blowing in my shot. I hope it's not bothering you. So I think all that because of 19. Sorry, y'all. I gotta remember to shut up more. Jerry Garrison says Trent Dilfer will make a good coach. I totally believe so. Did it in Louisiana. I love the story there. Went there because his daughters, one was playing on a college team, one was playing in an elite, playing volleyball, the girls. Trent talks about the fact that when he got done with the coaching, when he got done with the playing, and then ESPN signs the big contract, a year later they make major moves. He signed that contract year before, so he wasn't left without his bag, if you will, or some bag. But he talked about him and his wife were going to buy a van or a bus and ride around the country and just visit their daughters and visit old NFL friends. I hope he still gets a chance to do that, but I think he's going to University of Alabama, Birmingham. I'm rooting for them this year. I shouldn't say that because I'm trying to remember. I'm sure there's someone like, really? Yeah, no, I love a good story. Jay Garrison says fan wagon. I like that. Can I trademark it? Yeah, you can, brother. That's right. When I said it, fan wagon, I'm sure it said, but it came out and I was like, it hit me too. I was like, yeah, this kind of sounds kind of cool. Christopher Cole, USFL, XFL versus USFL. Your thought, Christopher? I'm going to have to flip that question back to you because, okay, so after I got the oil changed, again, shout out Zoe from Take 5, Park and Starkey. Yeah, my tire blew out. My wife's left rear tire blew out. So I spent an hour and a half in a parking lot getting it off, but then I spent the afternoon for an hour again over at the tire shop there in Seminole. And they had Grand Prix on, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think there's like 72 leagues right now, football leagues, because the USFL just started up. The XFL is over getting toward the playoffs. And then Johnny Dean posts that what game was it? Johnny Dean became a sneaky, really good game. And it was the 24-24, 4 minutes left. And I'm like, dang it. So I'm trying to find that channel on this limited package, whatever this whoever they probably have a gerbil in the back on a wheel that's running their cable. Cause I'm like, I turn it and it goes, oh, you don't have that as part of your package, but to get it, dial. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's channel 10. It's like WTBT. It's local, or WTSP. Finally found a game. USFL and the Bandits were always my favorite. XFL, the most famous thing for me was the He Hate Me and, the Vipers. The Vipers? I'm going to have to see at least a USFL game, but you tell me, Christopher, you all out there, you all tell me which is better. I like the narrative for the XFL. I like Dwayne Johnson. I like what Dwayne's doing. I like that when a time when all we're hearing about are 6 players getting suspended for gambling and owners last month approved to build sports books in stadiums. Oh, let me correct myself. It's not in stadium. It's attached to the stadium, like a goiter. You just can't have doors that lead inside, but you can still stop in and, blow the mortgage on a month trying to get a crazy Calvin Ridley parlay before you head into the stadium. The XFL story is the 54th man, that gritty. At getting that play. I like that narrative, but it also applies to the USFL. So, I mean, both. I like the fact that these kids have a chance to continue pursuing that dream. I like that we continue to make safety first, and we continue to use these different leagues to adapt other things to make, the NFL better or safer, or I don't like the gambling aspect. That's as far as I want to go this week, unless y'all want to talk about it. I'm prepared to talk about it. Did you guys know? Let me read one more comment before I get to that. Misador says JTS is a wide receiver playing edge. He is fast enough to get to the point, but seldom finishes. 100% me. His point of attack, and it's because he's got that upper edge. Now, I saw him last year. I just had dinner with him last night. He's doing beautifully, by the way. He's been putting on that weight. But yeah, the thing on him was a tackle could lift him with one, ride him out and take him around the quarterback in the 5-step, or if it's a 7, bring him inside and control him. But I saw enough of a dog in 2022 to know that with a healthy Shaq Barrett back, and then with the healthy defensive line and Logan Hall continuing into a second year, he's a dog. This defensive line, Joe Tryon, with that speed, is going to have a chance because there's going to be a lot of pocket disruption and there's going to be a lot of off-script plays by quarterbacks, and they're going to walk head on into a Joe Tryon who's learned to pick that point of attack instead of just racing to it or trying to get there. And yeah, I said a quarterback who goes off script because that's what a Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield is a guy I pointed out yesterday on that radio show. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding. I want to roll, so I'll go. Last year, the limited body of work with the fourth and fifth stringers playing against an Atlanta Falcons team that very much wanted to win. Kyle Trask went in there. There was one play. There was a full-out blitz. It was bring the Katie bar the door blitz, and Kyle Trask took 2 steps back and threw it right at the offensive line. Didn't even get to the offense. Got to throw it right at their feet. Tom Brady play. Lived to fight another day. Didn't take a sack. Baker Mayfield to win this offense, and I totally think he could win quarterback here in Tampa Bay, but for Baker Mayfield to win this job, to beat out fan wagon Kyle Trask, he's going to have to show that he does have that arm and he does have the escapability to make big plays, but you're going to have to first look to get that reception in the pocket or get rid of the ball. We can't be taking losses because that's what happened last year to this defense. And that's when this Buccaneers defense won't have a chance to be top 5 in the NFL. That's when the Buccaneers could possibly have a chance not to win the South for the 3rd season in a row. It's because we're going off script and we're losing 15 and 20-yard plays. I love Baker's arm. I love his legs. I like the fact that this guy's like, a 17th-year veteran. I also like the Eagle Scout and Kyle Trask. I think he wins the job. That's just my own personal opinion. But you can't have a quarterback goes off script. I'm sorry, me. That was a comment on Joe Tryon. I don't know. That's the reason why I get no likes. The reason why nobody shares. They're like, this guy has just literally got verbal diarrhea. Yeah, I get it. Sorry. Jay Garrison says Bucks have taken linebackers in the last few drafts for a reason. That is a position and Jason Light hits a lot of home runs, but you got to hit the home run in the first round. You got to hit the home run. Jason now with with a secondary. That's the scary thing for the other teams, not just in the South, but the Bucks play a first place schedule in 2023. I haven't had a drink in a few minutes. Here, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Please share the show. Just somebody. What have I done? I haven't offended you. I haven't cursed today. There's somebody in your social feed that's going to pop in here for whatever reason on the crapper. It's not a bad word. Wherever at a family function or just maybe having a afternoon and they're like, work tomorrow. They're going to pop. They're going to go, man, there's a few laughs here. I got to scroll back and forth because this guy is so annoying. But it's a beautiful shot. Hit the share button. I appreciate it. I'm really trying to build this thing. Got to get my agent on board with everything. That's right. I don't have an agent. I'm still ruining their breakfast. That's terrible. I'm not. Krabby's on the pass. What can I say about the staff here? I'm actually chilly almost still. That's so much of a. I know you all see the breezes. You see I guess the only thing you really see is this popping in. You got the flag, the big Buccaneer flag, the American flag flying. Let your freak flag fly. Still share the show. Misador, I love your optimism. Me, I love you, brother. But, I'm an optimist, but I'll still call it when I see it. Trent Dilfer couldn't throw a screen pass. Just saying. Christopher Cole, XFL seems more exciting to watch. Yeah, and they got it right this season, didn't they, Christopher? It's a fast season. And what's funny is I remember sometime, of course, Peter Blake and I used to cover the Apollos out of Orlando. Then we were covering the Vipers. Pete and I, the thing is, the more halftime and post-game shows Peter and I did with the Bucks, but then we did with the Apollos, and then we did the game, opening day out there at Fergs for the Rays. It's just like a bunch of guys and girls sitting around talking on these sports shows. It's like the more you do it, the better you get at it, which explains why I ramble. But doing those shows together and Peter and I, and the more we did it, the better we got at it. And then I realized, this XFL, this USFL, this kind of thing. And again, with the experience with the Bandits, bandit ball, 1st and 10, do it again, bandit ball. What was the next verse? Jerry Reed sang that song, friends with Burt Reynolds, who was very much associated with those Bandits. I remember coming into the season. I know where I was going. I remember going to the season. I was like, oh, Tampa Bay don't have a team. And now you're not playing all the games in Alabama, Birmingham, USFL, but Tampa don't have a team. And I'm like, I get that because but then you have your Lightning in the playoffs again, losing game 2 last night, or like game 3 going down, excuse me, 1-2 to the Maple Leafs. Then you have the Rays off to the best, what, 21. We know there's 21 straight games, but now at 13-0, the best. They're I think it's with the something 1895 Tigers or like the 1884 Gothams for undefeated at home, a record setting. And then now you have the draft on, okay, Tampa Bay good. And then bury the lead. Rowdies, pretty good soccer. I mean, so I'm like, okay, we don't need the XFL, USFL. We can watch it from a distance. But yeah, XFL is a little more exciting, but I think USFL, they'll get there as they get their wheels going here in another week or two. And you get through the XFL, you'll see that the USFL is also as well. Tim Haynes says the pitch clock works. I watched most of the Rays games yesterday. They just play the game now. I have not watched baseball on TV for 30 years. Tim, 100%. And I'm glad you said that because it works me back to the point where it was like coming into this, the argument I was having with people I was bringing on my show, and they were like, and it's the classic, don't change it. It's the way, it's the way the Abner Doubleday meant to be. And by the way, I don't think Abner actually invented the stickball or whatever they call it, but we'll throw it at him. But I was like, but I worked at Tropicana Field for 3 years. I worked for the Rays, and I was at about every home game, and I loved them. I get off sixth inning, I grab the sports page, literally like this is 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So I'm not the old man I am today. I grab a beer, grab the sports page, I'd go sit, and I'd actually cross my leg over. I'd have the page. I'd be looking through things, watching the game, and it was just it's the seventh inning. Oh, it's a stretch. Oh, then it's the eight. No, this pitch clock keeps this game going, and the games have gotten down to 2.5 hours. But also bury the lead. The pitchers were like, Scherzer, was it Scherzer was saying? By the way, it was Scherzer getting thrown. I believe Scherzer. I believe that it was just rosin and sweat. I believe that everybody's body sweats. I know everybody's body sweat. We all have we sweat differently. I believe it could have been something, but I also believe, and I'll put this out there as a conspiracy. I believe that Scherzer is enough of a dog that he would put anything in his body a day before that he would have to, because he's had it chemically tested in a lab to know that when he's sweating the next day on the mound, on the bump there for the Mets, the sweat will come out, mix with rosin, and cause a stickiness. I mean, it's conspiracy. I'm not saying I have any in on it. I do. I don't. I have no. This is not a sourced rumor. No, but I'm like, because I really believe Scherzer. He's right. He'd have to be the most stupid guy in the history of baseball because he gets checked after every inning to have any kind of stickiness. But there's still players doing it. But I believe you could actually manipulate your sweat to mix with the rosin and the sweat on a hot day, especially through the summer months. The rosin, it gets sticky. But when the umpire said it was actually stuck to him, the pitch clock works, Tim. I'm sorry. I off on that tangent again. Jay Garrison, the Bucks have wanted Mayfield for years now for some reason. And that's it, right? They had their eye on him back when Jameis was still quarterback, and then Arians had his eye on him out there in Arizona, and Todd Bowles had his eyes on him there when he was with the Jets. I mean, Baker Mayfield has there's everything. All indications point to Baker should win this job, his veteran all. But again, for someone who's been in-house for the last, and it was Byron Leftwich's offense, not Dave Canales, but someone who's been here in Tampa and has learned and has got comfort level. That's why I give Kyle Trask. Like I say, this is and me, I see you got another comment. This is the optimist in me. Having been a Buccaneers fan I almost cried. No, I'm kidding. Having been a Buccaneers fan for so long that we didn't even have a quarterback that we were searching, and so many near misses. So many quarterbacks are like, oh, this should be the guy. And then, well, he's not, doesn't have the personnel around him, doesn't have the team, doesn't have the talent, doesn't have the coaching, doesn't have the system. I've always had a envy when I see other teams, even teams that drafted Joe Burrow or drafted Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars, go Jags. I'm going to have great opportunity. Dolphins, Jaguars, and the Bucks. Stay tuned. I got a lot of stuff in store. I'm trying to put together this Jaguars, Dolphins, Bucks thing that we're going to get together. Fans from all three teams, now that all three teams apparently seem like they're going to be playoff contenders, that we're going to have basically just your team sucks, we're the best. We're going to have like some real open discussion among our teams, because you know what? Florida, from the north all the way down to the tip of Key West, from all the way from going near Alabama straight over to walking off the Jacksonville airport at the I'm trying to cover everything. Where else is there? Pretty big state. Three great teams, three great football teams. I've always been jealous of teams that had a true quarterback competition. I really believe your Buccaneers have a true quarterback competition. I don't think you'll hear. I don't think you'll have a starter named until. Just guessing here. You won't have a starter named until the third week of the preseason. Okay, and it's probably Baker Mayfield. I'll give you that. But he, I don't think he's. I think it would be stupid. I'd be pissed if they were like, "Well, we want to get this guy confidence. We're going. Oh, Baker's our guy." Why? Make them both work. What does it hurt to have two guys competing to get bag, and they're both good? I mean, I'm fighting with Jason Light or Todd Bowles. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think it's a pretty safe bet. Third preseason game, you'll have rumors. The media's going to try. Oh, don't you think that this? Don't you? Oh, he had one more rep. It's not going to be a Bergalis and Ryan Suckup competition where they're going to send a different guy there. Although maybe they will. I hope that made any sense. I still see people watching. Jay Garrison, what are your thoughts on the Indoor Football League? We got the Cyclones coming soon. And that's just it. I'm just a fan of all kinds of sports and athletics and competition. And I'm not a gambler. I'm not a bettor of it, but I'm a follower of it. I love indoor football. I loved indoor soccer when we lost the Rowdies of the NASL, but now we're fortunate to have the Rowdies back of the MLS. I'm using that as a comparison because that's probably of the four. I've many Bulls games. Love Bulls basketball, both Lady Bulls and men's Bulls teams. Not a big fan of the NBA, although the playoffs look pretty good. I like the narratives going on, the stories. But I don't know what took me there. Christopher Cole says DC and St. Louis stadiums are packed. Okay, yeah, all right, and they are, and 100%, Christopher. I just saw a message pop in there. Misador, alcohol, sweat, rosin results in sticky glue-like substance. Oh, me. So that sounds like a conspiracy of Babe Ruth proportions, or not a conspiracy, but that sounds like something that goes all the way back to the pictures of old when they'd go into town. They were getting paid like $50 a week, and they got like a pack of Lucky Strikes for smiling for a picture, and they'd be out drinking, and they'd be on the bump the next day, and Lord knows it's happened 8 billion times, and then mixing with that rosin, I'd have to say, sounds like Scherzer was a dog night before. Maybe he was at home doing shots. If Baker Mayfield wins the start, I don't think he'll keep it very long. Now, Jay, okay. I've already told you my contrast, but now we're being a little negative. If Baker wins it, he's going to win MVP because the Buccaneers are going to be the best team in the league. But I've seen what he did in Cleveland, and that was a poo show for a while. I've seen this kid ball at Oklahoma. I saw what Lincoln Riley did. I've seen what Lincoln Riley did with Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. I still have never seen a Baker Mayfield that, again, and we don't have to have another Tom Brady. I've never seen a Baker Mayfield that'll go out. I've seen him start to do it under Stefanski, and it was the playoff year. He'd get rid of the ball. Okay, just get rid of it. And he's a year older and a year wiser and had the injury and been injured. I've yet to see the Baker that'll always not go off script. And that's why I call him an off-script quarterback, and not in a bad way, but he's also got a phenomenal arm. He gets a start here with the team that he'll have around him. He's not going to do a Jameis. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Isidore says, rumors swirling, Bucks have interest in Trey Lance. Sounds like the confidence in Trask is fading fast on the Friday's airline. If you're not following the crew, you got to make that call for Trey Lance. The Niners, even John, and we were looking at John Lynch, right? Former Buccaneer Hall of Famer, going in the hall, baby. Or no, in the hall. Rondé's this year, sorry. Let me just throw that in there. And they move up, and you're like, well, Kyle Shanahan, he likes his guys. And now a couple of years later, it's like Kyle Shanahan can draft a wino off the street. Brock Purdy, I'm kidding, Mr. Irrelevant. Iowa State Cyclones, throw it out there from Mike Rickard. It's Kyle Shanahan's offense. You got the dogs on the offensive line doing that zone blocking scheme, and you got the talent that they have, and you got that defense that they have. Although that's the thing, the Niners keep losing defensive coordinators left and right. Trey Lance, now the guy's his third year in the league, and the talent that kid's got, you've got to make that call. I don't think that Jason Light was interested enough that he's wanting to blow it up. But the fact that, going back to why you want a Will Levis on that rookie contract, or the Buccaneers still having Baker at 4+4 and Kyle on that rookie second round, you could probably get a Trey Lance right now. He's on his rookie deal. but he hasn't had that success. Maybe he's not looking for that $50 million bag right now. So Jason Light's probably thinking you could get a guy where you could have a scaling contract and work him in as you're still installing this new Canales offense. I didn't have a problem with them reaching out for Trey Lance. In fact, I like Trey Lance. I also know that at the end of the day, he falls back on Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, and that's still probably one of the top 5, if not probably top 5. I think top 5 quarterback from a salary standpoint and the possible talent. Well, Baker Mayfield was number one. He was going to be the number one quarterback free agent, right? He was going to be all we get him in here because he's got a real shot at winning his job. He sees what Baker's. He's like, well, I got to wait till you see this boat coming through the pass. It's probably Baker. It's probably Baker and his beautiful wife on this boat, and they're going to come through the pass. They're going to wave and they go, "This is why I'm here. 4 + 4. Let's make it 50 next year." I like Baker he's betting on himself and 100% should win that bet or could win that bet with his talent. But, it has to see. It's still going to come down. That's why they play the games. Man, people really can't hear me. You guys, at least you have the silliness of seeing me while I talk. All they're seeing is my head from beneath. I forget that this microphone is right here by my mouth. I can actually talk like this the entire time, and then nobody would be offended. Share the show. Here comes Baker's boat. Right here, watch. Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, your starting quarterback at Buccaneer, your starting. It's just a little one. It's not Tom Brady. It's not some, $7 million. It's just a beautiful boat that Bake's going to head out in the, look at him. Oh, there he is. I'm going to meet him later. We're going to talk a little. It looks like yeah, he looks like he's got. Is that Kevin Stefanski's on there with him? Man, them two are still tight. They're not tight. Going out for running a draft. Baker Mayfield. That was a good comment. Thank you, me. Christopher Cole says hypothetically, if Trask and Baker gets injured, does Brady come back? You guys know. I love the fact. I'm crossing my arms because I'm cold. So I'm sorry. This is so. It's beautiful. I love it. Of course, the minute I step out in front here, the sun's gonna go and be like, Dracula. I love that the media. There's so much going on. There's so many great stories just here in Tampa Bay between the Rays, Lightning, and the Bucks, but all over the NFL. Besides the 6 players that were suspended, 2 of them indefinitely because they were gambling from the facility. The other 4, was it because they were gambling on football? They were gambling on football, not necessarily their team. The other 4 because they were gambling on the other sports, which is legal in the NFL, but never from the facility, that are suspended from the Lions this week. Harry Berg, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper and a good friend, makes a great point. We should know what they bet on. That should be made physical. That Calvin Ridley said he was, Calvin was in his fields. He was in Miami. He was separated from the team. He was going through some emotional stuff. He was going through some stuff, right? Had no contact with the team, not even calling. He says he gets popped on his phone, doesn't know why, downloads the app, does like a 20-team parlay. The Falcons were one of the teams. Wasn't even talking to anyone in the locker room. But still, right? As the NFL, brought to you by the FanDuel. Let's go to the FanDuel Dome. Let's, hey, welcome to the Caesars 1-800 line, whatever. As the NFL, just independence, but as the NFL continues to go ahead and go, don't look at the bag we got over here. Look, not this bag. You got to, because, and I go back to this 1963, right? How many of y'all were out there? 1963. Alex Karras and Robert Horning, both suspended for the entire 1963 season for gambling on football, not their teams, football. I think they said like Alex Karras suspending in the neighborhood of $500. Just for 63 is probably a lot. That was 1963, and that was 57 years before the NFL. Tony Romo tried to go to a what's it called again? You guys do the fantasy. Tony Romo tried to go to a fantasy football thing in 2015, but the NFL said no because it was located next to a casino. It wasn't in or part of it. It was just in an area of Vegas, and the NFL said no way. Paul Tagliabue, and then even Roger Goodell, when Vegas tried to buy a commercial during the Super Bowl back 15, 17 years ago, the NFL was like, no. And it was just a Vegas Tourism Council. And the NFL went, no, we wanted nothing to. Now they do. They're going to have to make sure there's that big gray area now. We all seem to live in that gray area a lot these days. we got to know what these players are betting on. And here's the reason why. You're going to have NFL officials questions. You're going to have players question. Everybody's wondering what's the big deal. These kids, these alphas, these person and NFL personnel are not even. If you're on a team personnel, you're not even allowed to gamble at all. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe a poker game. I don't know, but you can't at all. The players can on other sports and never from the facility. The NFL's drawing these lines. The line is we got to know who they bet on, and also the reason why it's. Let me get to my comments. Well, the reason why we have to know, I'll get you off screen there, Christopher. The reason, it's Tampa Bay Ray. The reason why we have to know is because that's where you got the separation of church and state. Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame baseball. NFL, you got to keep it straight because we're only going to, everyone, it's always going to, okay, Deshaun did what? Well, he's a great player. We're going to figure it out. I don't know how that happened. Seems like, are we all kind of, I love Kevin Stefanski. It's so windy. Aren't we all still kind of hoping that the Cleveland Browns crash and burn? Be honest. The NFL is going to have to continue to make sure that gray area is defined. Hey, you want to make bank from an NFL? You got to live in it worse than all of us. Roger Goodell is going to have NFL personnel have many sleepless nights worrying about, a ball player, being very not wealthy, a young ball player that just alpha. We want all alphas. Got into it a little bit, got in a little too deep with somebody, and it's like, hey, just make sure you don't catch one or two passes, or make sure you can, if you can, your team doesn't cover. And then it happens. And that's what you're worrying about in all professional sports, let alone someone throwing it just because they think it's funny to let a team cover. I don't think that would ever happen. Or they know a good friend of theirs has got a big nut on a team not covering. You start getting that, and now you start damaging or tearing at the very integrity and the very fabric of all professional sports as they all continue to get involved with legalized gambling in some way. Sorry, this turned into a Sunday sermon, but it's something I feel kind of, maybe we don't have to worry about it, me today, but it's something that Jay Garrison says, if Mayfield and Trask, entered the Will Levis star. 100%, Jay. Misador says, how is the league actively pushing gambling in the fans' face, making profits off its partner? How is the league actively pushing gambling in the fans' faces, making profits off its partnership? That goes back to the whole, hey, we all make our own decisions, right? Me, if that's where I think, and I'm not saying you're doing that, but hey, you make your own decision. You don't want to bet. I get it. It's just that, like downloading a gambling app on your phone. Your phone knows a few things about you: where you live, who you talk to, what you like to masturbate to, when you get paid, when you like to gamble, when you're up, when you're sleepless. Your phone knows everything. Did I say masturbate? Okay, the show's officially not safe for work. Please share. Your phone knows a lot of stuff, and you got this. Look at this boat coming through. This is what I was waiting for. This looks like a presidential yacht. It doesn't look as big on my shop. Look at this. That's awesome. Just one guy driving that boat. That's awesome. That's the dream right there. That boat can handle some waves out there. Just stay straight into the wake. But it always being there, and the fact that I know it's like, well, things change. We know the reason why I took the NFL to 2022 or one to come around to gambling. We know the reason why baseball's now starting to go, what? And we know the reason why the NFL, we know it took them that long to get here because they had to wait till we got to a public that would go, what's the matter with it? We're all gambling, having a good time, and we're playing ball. That's where we are these days, which is fine. I'm not here to judge that, but brought to you by FanDuel, MGM, Caesars, throwing the Manning boys on a commercial with the 800 number to dial when you get in trouble. It's really not enough. It's great. I love the Manning boys, but it's not helping that guy or that lady make that mortgage payment. It's not helping that money get back in that college fund for the person who thought they had a sure thing on a parlay, but buried the lead. They're not a professional handicapper. They don't really many times have sure things. And people are spending good money. The reason why this bag is such a big bag is because it's getting into a lot of pockets. Quite a few of those pockets it shouldn't be getting into. That's why I don't gamble. I make many bad decisions on a daily basis. One thing I don't do is actively gamble. 6 months from now, I'll be over here, laying down trying to get a Calvin Ridley parlay. He says, I coached with Kara's nephew. That's a great football family. It is. And I didn't mean to throw Alex Karras under it. I was just using that as a point, right? 63. We go back 37, 57, 59 years, 60 years ago that the NFL knew about the gambling, and it's been around. Now, again, these men and women that are involved with your professional sports, of all professional sports, these are alphas. A lot of alphas, but aren't we all like to think we're all alphas? A lot of alphas. Um, it's not uncommon for Michael Jordan to go, oh, $100,000 for this putt. Well, he's got the green to do it, but that's what they do. Got to make sure we keep a separation, church and state. Otherwise, you start. It's like putting. To me, honestly, though, let me read your comment. Great nephew has currently anchoring the Bengals O line. Yeah, Karras. That kid is a dog. Reminds me of, again, the ReliaQuest Bowl, who I had a great chance to talk with TJ Reeves and Peter Blake tonight. And Peter Blake and I got credentialed through the Sports Web. Follow Sports Web, like and follow, please share. And we get in, we get our credentials, get upstairs, walk in, boom. Peter goes, we got to get over here. I go over here. There's TJ Reeves punching in his computer. TJ says, you guys want to go with me? I got to go down and do a live with CBS on the pirate ship. It was out of Champaign, Illinois. CBS, the Lion and I were playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl. I'm like, are you kidding me? So we go down with Teach and we get to watch him do the live, and we're getting all that background. All the bands were all coming up to take a picture of the famous, not infamous, iconic pirate ship there in the North End Zone, because they're in the ReliaQuest 2023 Bowl and they wanted to get a picture. So they're going to have that picture. And the sun was beautiful it was in the southern sky shining right on them. Got a little warm down there, which it does in Florida, even on January 2nd. My point being, what was the guy's name? Kreutz, because I'm on a side. Peter and I are on a field, right? I'm down in a field where the players. I've never in my life been close to professional, let alone college dogs like the Mississippi State and the Illini. And these dogs are live. They're like warming up. If one of them would have fell, I mean, I'm 6'2", 250, right? Actually, I'm 6', 95. But if one of these cats would have fallen on me, I'd have gotten squashed. But long story short, this one kid walks by, young kid, 6'6". 300 something, and he walks by, and I look. For some reason, I turned around, I looked at him. He's walking with some. It was after the game, and on the back of his jersey is Kreutz. Of course, Olin Kreutz was a big Bears offensive lineman, and the family still lives in Chicago, and that was Olin's son. So yeah, I love Karras. I love Karras with the Bengals. Kreutz, that kid. I think I checked. I thought he maybe had another year of eligibility. He might only be a sophomore. Look for that name in the future, because this kid was built like a mountain. Christopher Cole says, get rid of the sports books in the stadiums. Again, right? It feels like building a brothel in the back of the church. Let's be honest. But you can't get there through the confessional. You got to actually walk around outside and come in through the side door. I don't know why it's needed. I mean, I am not trying to do this for like legalized off-track betting or wagering, or the fact here in Florida it's still illegal. Harry DeGreek, my friend again, professional handicapper for 1252 Sports, brought up a great thing. If a dolphin or a jaguar, and wouldn't happen to the Bucks, but if one of their players got arrested for gambling, being that it's illegal in the state of Florida, is that not only a suspension from the league and also a law broken? I don't know. It's a good question. Christopher Cole, I would rather have Hendon Hooker than Will Levis. I'll tell you what, Hooker just. From what I've seen of that kid, he's put together, and he's got a good kid, good Tennessee. Then, of course, a number one offensive line in the entire, or number one college offense in the entire country. Jay Garrison says, I thought if the rumors of Derrick Henry going to Philly are true, that drops Bijan Robinson even further. If you're the Bucks and you still have that whole fans if they whiffed on Dalvin Cook thing hanging over your head, do you take Bijan Robinson at 19 if he's there? Jay. Seriously, comment of the day. And I love this because, again, James Canada from Big Game Sports Buzz, I should have shared this link with him. Hey, guys, it's already getting late, but that means it's later there in Texas. Give me a second just to do this, because, I mean, he might not even be set up, but he's my guy. James Canada, former Buck, former Colt, Indianapolis, hosted a Big Game Sports Buzz and a Chop Shop, and I'm sure he's got 1,000 other things to do here on a Sunday. But he did throw me those laugh cry emojis, which in the industry means probably not, because you're an idiot for going so early. But if all things being equal, let me find my. How come I can't find my friend? No, I don't want to be. I don't want to see my friend request. I just want to look for my guy. There he is. Sorry, y'all. It says, you know what? It's still a great view. I could have went off screen when I did this, but just throw it in there in case, like I said, he's sitting around ain't doing nothing. And if he is doing something, even if you had a chance to watch, maybe just appreciate your brother. But and let me get back to my other. Okay, copied. I copied. Okay, good. Close it. All right, Jay. James and I talked about this very early on, and it was funny because I did a reel on it and cut up the thing because he started doing some background audio, and he said pivot. He used that term pivot. And if Bijan's on the board at number 19, even if and here's the thing, I talked to a guy yesterday because we were like, do you guys remember Keyshawn Vaughn comes out of Vanderbilt, which is the Ivy League of the SEC, was rocking it there, leading the SEC. Ever since Chicago hasn't had a chance. Rachaad White, the receptions out of the backfield, what he meant and what he can continue to mean for this offensive philosophy, which even though it's not going to be Byron and Tom anymore, you can kind of get an idea. You have the idea when Jason Light goes back to Dirk Cotter and what this Buccaneers team was looking to put together as an offense. But if Bijan's on the board at 19 and the Bucs pivot and take him to secure a running back like that in light of the Dalvin Cook and what it did, I looked, he's not as big as Derrick Henry. You do that, or if you're Jason Light and that phone's ringing off the hook because there's 5 other teams that would also jump on Bijan at 19 at Robinson, then you also take that call because at the end of the day, it's also about building capital. The Buccaneers know what they have so far in this locker room. Keyshawn Vaughn, Keyshawn Vaughn. Why does that name not sound right? Or they're for some reason I've been saying that name for 4 years. But if what they have, if they know they can go after a Robinson and bring him in and what they're trying to put together, I mean, well, me says something though. Jay Garrison, I want to Cook. However, I think at 19 the Bucs have other needs, and I firmly believe in who we have at the lead. Like he said, I wish I'd have read that before I opened my big mouth. About 100%. Jay also says on the players gambling topic. If you play in that professional sport, you should not be allowed to gamble on that sport you are playing coaching for. Coaches aren't at all, right, allowed to gamble, period, because they're also part of that personnel, not the players. 100% agree. I 100% agree. And I could have been wrong on that. I thought, you know what, I apologize. With the NFL, it might be you're not allowed to at all gamble on the sport. And that's what the players, and I think maybe I said that. They were the ones that were suspended. The boat's coming back. No, it's a different boat. Man. Oh, I just got my first smell of sunscreen. I love it because that sun's coming up. Someone's down here eating along the beautiful waterfront here at Krabby's on the Pass and got some sun. I'm going to go put some sunblock on right now. I grab a beer and just sit out. I've already been on for too long. By the way, thank you all. Please share the show. I appreciate you. I don't think they're allowed to gamble on a sport. Not at all from the facility. The ones that gambled, they didn't gamble on football. They gambled from the facility, and they got the 6-game suspension. And the 2 that were suspended indefinitely, they gambled on the sport. I think that was the thing. And I 100% agree with you, Jay. Good point, brother. Hooker is the top of this quarterback class. TJ Hooker. I always think about TJ. What a great show TJ Hooker used to be. All the shows they remake these days, no one's remade TJ Hooker. Jay Garrison, you missed a Pelican dive popping off the bridge. No, I know. I see him. Every time I turn around, they're doing them all over here. I want to know, Jay, you want to impress me? Hit me when you see the pot of dolphins that come swimming through here. Oh, my God, just now. I just saw it. Oh, that was funny. Pelicans, man, just go. Jay also says Bijan Robinson is a generational talent. So every pick is very valuable until he's off the board. So I agree. You could trade for capital. White and Vaughn are both capable backs. Yeah. And also, me says he's like what he got going on in there. And let's be honest, you got the running back, right? Pete, right? From Dallas, running back coach, what's his face? Zeke sign anywhere yet? No, don't get me wrong. Maybe he did. We ain't paying no $5 million for no Zeke. But if you ain't got nothing else really cha-chang and you want to come hang out on a big boat here in Tampa Bay, and we got your running back coach from the Dallas. Is there another? There's another Pelican dive. That's awesome. Maybe you couldn't see that one because of my big head. Just saying. Misador says, who plays with players gambling? You have to look into insider trading. Good morning. You have to look into insider trading. That's it. Insider trading, especially. Oh, God. Because you want the NFL is supposed to, the NHL, where they can kind of be a little more flexible with notifying of injuries, the NFL is supposed to be, unless you're Tom Brady and you've got a blown out knee. I'm kidding. I was going back to the Tom Brady comment. I'm glad that it's not a big thing, a news thing, but you kind of, it's like they put feelers out there, not Tom Brady's camp, but just different people. I told you all about the Vanity Fair article with Giselle and how awesome that. Oh, I got a bird almost landed on me. That would have been weird. Oh, if I get pooped on, isn't that good luck? Giselle living down between Brazil and Miami, and Tom being down in Miami, but somebody floated it out there. Let's say, oh well, maybe Tom's a dolphin. And yeah, you look at Tua, whatever they got with Sage, not Sage Rosenfeld, he's in Washington, but the quarterback they have down here who looked pretty good actually in the preseason last year, rookie. You're like, well, I mean, why wouldn't he? If Tom wants to play for like, $1.5 million and like all the tacos you can eat, sure, Tom, come here. Or if you're not going to be putting us in the cap, or even how far would the Dolphins, even though they had lost a draft pick and were, even back when Tom was a Patriot, they were guilty of, meddling. Those meddling kids. I should give Peter's sound. I think he's got them on a soundboard. But yeah, insider trading would be a big thing too. Even though the NFL's supposed to be up front with those injuries, you'd be able to tell, look, wait, I know it on fact. Like it's almost like a big thing. Like if you were something floating in the past. Oh no, it's just part of that 26-foot depth over there. Wait, it's 26, 24. Oh, it's the clearance from the bridge because of the tide of the water. For a minute there, I've only lived here my whole life. I was trying to go, why is it going up in feet, but it's going down in numbers? But that's because I already explained, from the top of the bridge right now. Another dive. These pelicans are eating well, just like the patrons down here at the Krabby's on the Pass, eating a great breakfast. I walked through there today and had to get a couple of things set up, and all I could smell was the pancakes and the bacon. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna get that instead of a beer. Jake Harrison says Bucks also got Patrick Laird from Miami, so we have some running backs. That's right. No, we also got what's his face. Don't forget who's the running back? Come on, guys, the running back we just signed. What was he on Denver's squad? Or I'm having a blank here. Again, Take 5 Auto. Take 5. If you're looking to get an oil change, they had me in and out of there. Took such great care of me, and not only was it such a great price, but everything checked. The service, the attention to detail, the kindness, the bottle of water from the minute you drive in. Take 5, do it. You're going to be getting that oil change anyway. Get the good stuff and get the good stuff, the good service. Take 5. Can you tell I'm pumping for a sponsor? Misador says Zeke out with Old Country Buffet. Oh, he signed with Old Country Buffet. I love you, me. I should have invited you. My whole point on the players gambling thing was you can gamble on another sport, just not one you work for. No, I 100% I agree, because you can't. Everybody's. I remember I'm like 6 years old, okay, and I'm at my Aunt Mary's house and Uncle Sonny, and everybody's there, and they're all weekly family, poker game. Everyone's hanging out, and like at some point in the afternoon, well, maybe I was 8. Some point in the afternoon, somebody came around and they had a hat and they had 18 pieces of paper in it. Take a number. Okay. What's this for? Grew up in a big sports family, right? Jets, Dolphins, Bucks, Mets, Rays, Lightning, Rowdies, Bulls. 8 years old. I take a number. Boom. I get it right. And a couple of minutes later, everybody's sitting around a TV. I'm just like running around. And all of a sudden, everyone goes, well, that number you got, what number did you get? And I go, oh, I got number 8. And they're like, well, number 8. And that means if your horse comes in the Kentucky Derby, your horse number 8, everybody put $5 a piece in. So there's $85 and that's yours. I'm like, okay, really? Okay. My horse came in. You're handing an 8-year-old kid $85. It's like handing, I know it was the best thing in the world. Because here's the thing, you either do or you don't have it. You're the kind of person you are, you aren't. And trust me, I am not that kind of person. I'm a terrible person. I'm kidding. I just don't gamble. Florida Lottery, the first time I played, 50 cents straight, 701 on my birthday. And it hit straight, 50 cent, $250. Boom. These are things where, you could be looking back, maybe not even years, months later, and you're like, I know where it all started. These are things. We all have a penchant for competition. It's ingrained in our DNA. It's ingrained, and it's one of the beautiful things about humanity and humans, and why competition of any kind is such a great thing, let alone sports, even just in business and your job and school and just everything. UPS sorting. Yeah, we have competitions at UPS. Just doing our best to make those. Anyway, long story short, let them gamble. just not on your own sport. And that's the reason why, again, I'm working back to what Harry DeGree said, 1252 Sports. We should know what they're gambling on. You kind of found out about Ridley, threw the Falcons into a crazy parlay. We're going to have that, because then these players realize, even if they got to go get a third party and a name and transfer money and do like a secret deal, it's such a pain in the neck to have to do that. Why even bother in the first place? Just stick with other sports. Jay says, with Tom Brady, Miami connection isn't going anywhere. He said he has a lot of friends there and will be living there as well. So it's going to happen in some capacity, not playing, but other. 100%. Live his best life. Do it, Tom. Jay also says Chase Edmonds, right? The running back we just got. I mean, you're talking about a pretty good running back room. So again, though, Robinson, Texas running back, he's on the board at 19. I broke his film. I've broke his tape down, right? I mean, you look at that. I don't want to have this. I got so many great Buccaneer memories. Ricky Bell, James Wilder, Lars Tate, Reggie Cobb, Eric Rhett. The muscle hamster, just to piss off Doug. I'm kidding. Sorry, Doug Martin. So many running backs over the years that you were so iconic. Oh, another Pelican dive. Hope that one was visible. Yeah, I think it was. So many. It's an important part of your team. I don't want a $20 million running back. I didn't know I wanted two $20 million wide receivers, but it turns out not so bad. Christopher also says Aiden Edmonds. Okay, guys, I've been on for so long. I appreciate it. Just please, again, share the show. I got so much I got to take care of right now. I got to go see if I can get the family some breakfast. I hope you had a great time. I hope you have a good weekend. I should say great time. I hope you had a good time watching me. Right? Have a great Sunday. Find yourself that Zen area. You know, that's what I do out here at Krabby's on the Pass. Thanks to the staff here at Krabby's. Thanks to another man. These Pelicans are. You couldn't see that one, and actually, I think there was some spray on the dock from that one. Thanks to the staff here at Krabs on the Pass. Thanks to Lorenzo and the staff at Take 5 for that fantastic service yesterday. Thank you to all the well wishes out there for you guys asking about my mom. She's doing much better. I'm going to go visit her today, and I hope you have a great Sunday. And you guys know how I end every one of these things. Everyone needs to know someone cares today. Why don't you be the one? Let them know. It goes a long way. Do a brother or sister check. Yesterday was Earth Day, but let's make every day Earth Day. Just do the right thing. Another dive, but I saw that in reflection. I'm going to take care of the family. I'm going to go watch some Pelicans dive for a while. This has been a Cup of Ray. I hope you have a good day. Thank you, and please share the show.